Hello and welcome to another episode of Cracking the Rich Code, the podcast. I'm John Verico, your host. And as usual, have another fascinating guest for you today. This guy is just kind of over the top. He does all sorts of things. You're going to love him. Everything from being, a business leadership coach, international best-selling author. He's a product leader, a cosmetologist, a published songwriter. Wait till you meet this guy. You're going to love James Rowe. So let me bring him in right now. Hello, James. How are you?
Hey, how's it going, John? How you doing?
All right. So great to meet you, man. I've been reading about you and learning about you. I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to talk to this guy. You got so much stuff going on.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you having me on the show, man. Really
Yeah,
looking forward to it.
absolutely. Now you are where in the world?
I'm actually in Denver, Colorado. So I'm living kind of in the Rhino district, which is the art district, which just means there's a ton of graffiti everywhere, and it's embraced. It's not taken down.
Yeah, I love it. But any artistic community is going to be like that. And I imagine that you kind of settled in that area because of your affiliation with music and the arts.
Yeah. It was a move for me earlier this year, and I started to put together a path that I wanted to be on, and kind of what was my next step, my next venture. And I'm kind of a serial entrepreneur in a lot of ways, and I figured put myself in the heart of it, and it brought me to opening up my barber salon earlier this year. Yeah.
So barber salons, that's where the cosmetology part comes in.
Yeah. And so I kind of taken the focal point 303, the overall enveloping umbrella, and adding the barber salon as one of the things underneath that umbrella next to coaching. So working in the industry, staying in the industry I've been in for 30 years, and really just seeing what I can give back to them and bring it to that next kind of generation that's coming out.
I love it. And then do you do mostly business coaching for people who are in the cosmetology fields?
I mean, that's my focus, right? So if you say, your niche client or your ideal focus would be, barbershop owners, salon owners, spa owners, but business owners in general, small business,
Right.
I can help them get to where they need to be, where they want to go, versus me telling them, here's the secret recipe. It's kind of like drawing out as opposed to pushing in.
Right. But understanding a particular niche really helps. But then you can translate those skills to so many other things, and that's what makes it so exciting when you get into the coaching realm and you realize, okay, I've been focused on this for so many years, but you know what? It's applicable here and here and here,
Yeah.
and then you can find that way to reach out. So I'm going to be asking a bunch of weird questions. So
Great.
your business is called Focal Point 303.
Yeah.
What is 303? And I'm probably going to smack myself in the forehead when you tell me. I'm going to say, I should have thought of that. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I've been in Colorado my entire life, and grew up in Colorado Springs, and then moved to Denver around '88. But 303 has been the area code of the state that entire time. When I moved to Denver, it shifted to Denver only, and now they've added other area codes 720 since then. But the 303 just encompasses the essence of what we are here in Colorado, which is hard workers. The focal point piece is like focusing on directly where you want to go and what you want to achieve and getting there. So the two together, all one word, is kind of the concept there. And it also comes from, I'm a certified business coach through Focal Point International. So that's there.
Oh,
Yeah. So there's a team of about 200 coaches worldwide, 250 coaches worldwide. Just a great group of folks that I also work with. So that's where all of that comes together. But I wanted to brand something that said that, but also said the culture and said kind of the, what we mean, what it means to be successful, which is essentially being focused on one point and headed that direction.
I love it. And it's brilliant when you break it down like that and trying to understand that. Now, you wrote probably one of the most interesting titles I have seen in one of the Cracking the Rich Code books. And so, first of all, let me ask you this:
Mhm.
when Jim Britt, I assume it was Jim or one of his team members who reached out to you and said, you want to be part of this series. What inspired you to come on board?
Well, yeah, it was Jim that reached out directly, and one of the things that really stuck out to me was that the volume 15 and several others, they have the forward by Brian Tracy. And if you know anything
Mhm.
about Focal Point, Brian Tracy wrote the book Focal Point, and that's where
Right.
Focal Point coaching came from. Right, it
Hmm.
came from him and a gentleman named Steve Thompson. They formed Focal Point Coaching International roughly a little over 20 years ago, and then they started kind of franchising that and getting people to kind of understand the concepts around Brian's teachings. And
Right.
so that was one of the things, and also the affiliation with Tony Robbins, right? So anytime you can have an endorsement of the book series by Tony Robbins, that definitely helps. And I was just fascinated by Jim. Jim, I was really taken aback by just his story, where he comes from, and what he brings to just speaking and coaching in general. And I just saw this as a platform I wanted to be a part of.
Excellent. Excellent. So now we get to your chapter you wrote in volume 15, and your chapter is Eat Your Own Lunch or Someone Else Will Eat It For You. You got to tell me this story here.
Well, I believe in titles that have that little, I don't want to say shocking, but they're enough to, like, it's like a hook, right? It's to bring you in to say, I want to read
Oh yeah,
more
you
about
make
it.
people say, "I want to read this. I want to know what this is all about." Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and so where it comes from is it outlines the previous about 30 years of my life, and just condensed down into 3,000 words. And that that was the challenge provided by Jim at the beginning. I said, what are the parameters?
Yeah.
He's like, I need it in 2 weeks, and I need it
Oh.
because he's like, I had an opening. Do you want to take it? I'm like, all right, I'll take it. Because this is a sought after series. A lot of people want to do, right. And so
Yes.
so I was like, okay. So what I did was I just sat down and I said, you know what, I've been wanting to tell this story, because it really tells the story of a company's, like, up and down, right? You kind of have the up portion of it, then it dips, and then it goes up again. And then if you don't make your adjustments at the top of that curve, then you're going to see it fall off, right? And so what I wanted to do was I wanted to do that, but I also wanted to tell a little bit about myself. I am probably the only rapping cosmetologist business coach that you've ever met, I would imagine. um, and just really wanted to kind of put the whole thing together, and it tells really the story. It's not really a tragedy story. It's more of like, only because I know the founder of the software that we worked on. So we worked on the software for 20 years in salon. It was called Super Salon. And we were in the value price space. We were the premier software, right? And so over time, as companies go, you bring in new investors, you have things that change. And so we missed a lot of opportunities looking back, right? We did well in terms of the company got sold, to a larger competitor. But I always tell people, they didn't buy it with the intent to grow it. They bought it with the intent to kill
Right.
it. So, which is capitalism 101, right?
Yeah.
But
Oh, I
really,
know.
really wanted to kind of like tell the stories. If we had made this change, things might have been different. If we had made this change, it's really like a reflection, putting that together.
Hmm.
And then it also talks about a little bit of hinting my rap career and kind of things that were also happening in my life at the same time over the years. And then ends with a little bit of a teaser, because the plan is obviously to take that one chapter and expand it out to an entire book, just so it tells more of the story. And it's really, I hope to be able to share it so that others can not make the same mistakes, or be able to maybe see some of those indicators as they're coming up, and decide if where they want to be is truly what's happening, or they're just letting things occur, right? And that's a lot of times what we don't do, is we let it occur, and before you know it, it's changed, and we just can't get a hold of it and get it back, right?
I like what you said about looking at things and determining whether or not it's where you really want to be.
Yeah,
Because I
yeah,
think I think so many of us possibly lose sight of that. You start doing stuff, and then you do stuff, and you keep doing stuff, and then all of a sudden you've been doing stuff, and that's all you know, or
mhm.
that's your comfort zone. But is it where you really want to be?
Right. And it's about trajectory, right? So one move to the right, now all of a sudden, if that keeps going, now the line just goes way off chart, right? One move to the other side, it moves way off chart the other way. So it's I've heard it described as steering a cruise ship, right? You never turn a cruise ship on a dime, right? You kind of shift that towards the direction you want to go, and you just
Right,
make
right.
constant adjustments along the way. And so I think that's really the part. If you don't pay attention, you're off course and don't even realize it.
I love it. And it's important to know where it is that you're trying to get to.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes people are just out there for the journey and not even knowing where they're going.
And I think for me, this is the first time in my life where I've actually just, if I would just speak selfishly for a moment, I'm actually stopping long enough to enjoy the journey. Like where I'm at right now in my life, it's total faith. And if those of you that have been startup entrepreneurs, I started up my concept from scratch. I really just really sat down and said, what are the things that I can put together and really kind of move towards the needle. Oh, I need to have a logo. Oh, I need to have a website. Oh, I need to have all the things that a small business would take to start. I
Right.
just felt I wanted to experience that, and not knowing really what the end goal was, other than I wanted to have a salon. It needed to be operational. We have a new software that we've kind of been able to scrape together from the ashes of ourselves and pull together some of the folks that worked on the original software. And so, what better way to showcase that than to have it in your own salon? Because I'm not going to get rid of my own software, right? So if there's a problem,
Yeah.
then I'm going to work through it, and I'm going to work with the guys to continue to perfect it. But we'll be selling this software to other small businesses, including salons, primarily later this year. I mean, by the end of the year is our goal to have our second location, since I'm the first location. But it's definitely it's definitely fun because it's a place where I've always been next to the owner. I've always been an advisor to the owner. So being an
Right.
owner, I get to establish. I was like, I thought it was going to be more fun, but yeah, a lot of pain. But that's part of the journey, right?
So I help me to understand what the software does,
Yeah. So
just in general terms.
yeah, just high level. It's booking software. It's handling inventory. It's handling, it's how you communicate and intertwine that with your website, so that your customers, as they come in, they can go online. And I started with just a QR code, right? So I said, I'm going to put the link for the booking link that ties to our software. I'm going to put that on my website and have that be the first kind of target in the funnel, right? So if I can
Sure.
drive people to the first page, not only do I get them to book, but I also get a website click with that as well every time, right? So
Right.
so knowing that I've had to kind of like morph my web presence between the coaching and now going into the salon as an actual barber salon. And now I've got this logo of a skeleton with his hair combed to the side on the on the website.
I saw that.
Yeah, and it's like the amount of foot traffic where I'm at in Denver. I'm in the heart of Denver. I'm on Cedar and Broadway, which is kind of like center of Denver, Alameda Broadway. Um, the amount of foot traffic, and then you get people from that neighborhood. It's a great neighborhood. So it's evolving rapidly, and I'm seeing the trajectory go up. But I'm probably facing the problems that most salon owners are facing, which is the staff, getting staff, retaining
Right.
staff. And so that's a component where I'm at. So I've just decided, you know what, I'm not going to really push for recruitment right now with staff. I'm going to continue to work on just behind my chair. So I have an entire salon where I'm working in the front chair. So I've got 7 other chairs. People are like, this is great. Yeah, who's working this week? Yeah, I've got a lot of people. They're coming in. So it's kind of like, you put together something that makes people feel comfortable, and you just watch it bloom. It's exciting to see, because it's happening like it's supposed to. But obviously you want to hurry up and get to the end of the story. Like, it's like you're watching a movie and you're like, what's the 7th chapter? What's the 8th chapter? Let me hurry up and fast forward to that. But I'm really enjoying the journey right now. Like I said, it's a
Yeah.
difference.
I think so many folks have a tendency to look at the end goal and not not enjoy the trip along the way.
Yeah.
And it's really, I mean, that's what life is about. Life is about the journey. It's not about the finish line.
Yeah.
You know.
And my partner in the software, he was the founder of the original software, Super Salon, Matt Rogers. So he's my partner in the software. And I would equate Matt to, if you're, this is a story I always tell people, and I hope he doesn't get upset by me telling this one, but it's like going on a road trip and you have that passenger on the passenger side that is sleeping because they're taking the nap because they're going to be the next driver instead of taking their nap. And then they wake up and they grab the wheel right away without finding out where you're at on the trip. Wait, where are we going? Let's go here. Let's go there. So our relationship is just, it's great because his insight of what he saw in the original software and what he sees in the overall industry, he comes from industry as well, counterbalances what I bring to the table because I came from taking cosmetology in high school because there was no barbering program. Otherwise, I would have been a barber right out of. That's kind of where the barber salon idea comes from, is because it's kind of both. But I come from that perspective, so from the user. So I've always been a user of the software that he created, right? And so now that we're on this second journey, we're able to take those two kind of points of views and really put together something that I believe is better than most out there. We may not have as many features, but we're definitely better than a lot of things that are out there right now, and we're going to be evolving. So that's the thing that's most exciting to me.
Sounds great. Just out of curiosity, can this software be adopted for other types of industries?
Yeah, absolutely. It's anything that's time based, right? So anything that's, if you doing reservations for a restaurant, if you're doing, the dentist, the oil change place, anything that's got any sort of time based business. We do ticket tracking from the start, when you're at this phase in the waiting area, you're at this phase in the servicing area. So you would just adopt the language accordingly. And Brilliant. Because we've had a lot of, the other software kind of evolved when software was changing quite a bit. We know where our failure points were there. And so we started building this, and we started building the failure points that we already knew about. Right. And so we made sure we plugged the gaps ahead of time and then filled in the backstory. That was the easy part to fill in. Right. So.
Right. Because you knew what you needed to do. You knew what the challenges you were going to encounter.
Right.
So it's excellent. Excellent. Hey, for those of you who are tuning in late, you need to go back and watch this from the beginning. James Rowe is a fascinating discussion. We're having fascinating discussion here, talking about all kinds of stuff. James is a business leadership coach. He is a rapper. He's a cosmetologist. The man is all over the planet. He wrote an amazing chapter in Cracking the Rich Code, Volume 15, called Eat Your Own Lunch, or Someone Else Will Eat It For You. Who knows where the rest of this conversation is going to even go. We've been talking about all kinds of stuff. I want to ask briefly about your rapping career, man.
Yeah. I started in the mid 80s, right? Mid to late 80s, when rap was kind of on its first kind of, starting to get big, starting to get commercial viability. And when I was in cosmetology in high school, because I was like, I don't know if I want to go to college. I don't know what I want to do. And so the counselors are like, here, you can go here or go there. Well, I started cutting because I watched the rap video, right? So I don't know if you're familiar with the group Third Base, but they were one of the original kind of MTV raps was what we would get on cable, and we'd see that. And first time I saw words cut in somebody's hair, like graffiti writing, because we had done graffiti writing, just kind of from the culture, and then seeing that in the hair, I was like, oh wow, that could be something cool. And so I started kind of experimenting. I had another friend in Colorado Springs, best friend actually. We started doing it, cutting each other's hair, right, with a pair of clippers, and had some mishaps, bald spots of course, and things, but then I cut a few lines in my hair. When I came to Denver, somebody said, hey, can you do that to my hair? And I said, I guess. And so I started, like, at my mom's apartment on the balcony. I set up a shop right there kind of during high school, and my kind of moving up here to Denver. and found myself kind of, the culture was still moving forward. And then I found myself where somebody said, "Hey, go check out this group Deuce Mob. And they're performing tonight at Club LA, which is like it was like a nightclub at the time here in Denver." And I said, "Oh, I'll go check it out." Well, when I went there, the Fabian Garcia, which is the founder of the group, he was spinning the record that they had. They had like a single, on vinyl, and
Yeah.
and so I was waiting for the break, and I went up to go talk to him, and I was like, "Yeah, I rap, and I'd like to do it." So right away he was like, "Yeah, come down to the studio." A week later, well, what started happening? They were building their record, their first record that came out, and because he had heard some of the things that I had done, and they were needing some writing on there, he called me from California when they were already working on the album with Kid Frost. That's kind of Kid Frost is kind of what I would call like one of our kind of mentors that brought us through there. And John Martinez was our financier of the album. But he called me up. He said, "Hey, I need you to write a song about my '64 Impala." And I was like, "Okay." And so I'd already started cutting hair, and I was on break, and nobody told me you were supposed to clean. I mean, I knew it from school, but you're supposed to clean when you're not working, right? But instead, I started writing this song, my '64, and they were actually touring and came back
instead of sweeping up the hair.
Yeah, exactly. So when the hair was already I was supposed to be like dusting shelves, I'm over here writing our hit song. And so that was our best song, like the most we're known for the most. And so then that followed by going to LA and recording with Johnny or Dave Cochran from the Commodores, GLE, who he was part of production with Paperboy and the Diddy. We were probably always about two or three people, one to two or three people from Dr. Dre and all the things that were happening at the time. Because we're talking, this is like 92, 93, 94, right around, the LA riots had already happened and kind of,
right. Yeah.
I never seen anything like it, getting a ride back to the airport in the middle of seeing what had occurred in 92, and it was still burnt out, right? It hadn't been fixed or anything. So there was a lot going on right then and there, but the rap group itself, we did well. We were affiliated with Lowrider magazine, and we did a lot of touring through there. So, that's always been a component that's been there. And, just recently, even in June, just did another show. It's like,
I was just going to ask, are you still performing?
Yeah. My Fabian, he passed away roughly about 10 years ago. And, he was like my big brother. He was like my every day we would talk. We would always, connect daily. And so that losing him like really took a toll on the group itself, because he was always the driver of hey, we got to get this done. Hey, when are we going to put this out? Hey, when are you going to be done with that song? Or, and so that really put kind of a barrier in the progress of it, because when you lose the one that's pushing it, you kind of like lose the desire to get back on stage. Right. And so, this last show here in June, that was the first time I had performed in a lot of years, like officially, right, under that moniker. So that was actually pretty cool. And I got to have his kids there, and my son was there. My other son wasn't, but just got some family that got to see it. So that was pretty cool.
And the name you were using for your rap?
Yeah, so I'm AWB, the average white boy. So so if you go on my Facebook,
all right, I'm telling you now, man, you are not the average white boy.
There you go. And that's kind of why I chose the name. Well, I was given the name. Fabian gave me the name because of the average white band, right? And so we were coming up with kind of something that was gonna really people, because I had another moniker, went by Bass, but it didn't have the same effect as when you said average white. When you said AWB, people say, "Well, what's that?" You say average white boy. Wait, you don't look white, you don't act like because there's all these stereotypes that are associated.
Sure. Yes.
And
exactly.
so it was cool.
And what was the other moniker?
What's that?
What was the other name?
Oh, Bass.
Oh,
Bass. Yeah, BASS. So it was like the first one, and just had to do it driving down the road with bumping the bass in the car. And
I love it.
Yeah. So it was,
You got a good voice. You got a good voice for it, man.
yeah.
You do. You can just hear as soon as you started talking on the mic when we got on the call. Uh, I can see, I can feel the resonance in your voice and know that you'd be great on the mic. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's excellent.
I've
That's
always
awesome.
wanted to do radio. I mean, if I was to say what would be the thing I'd be doing if I wasn't doing what I'm doing now, I think radio would be the way. That's why I always like your voice because it's got that radio feel to it, you know.
I got a face for radio. I do.
So do I.
Yeah. I was a broadcast journalist in the Navy and such, so I've done a lot of stuff like this, and I've always enjoyed it. But mostly I enjoy interviewing people like you. And so again, for people who are tuning in, we've been chatting with James Rowe, and I can't believe we're almost out of time already, James. Look how quickly this time has gone. But I wanted to remind folks to check out James's chapter called Eat Your Own Lunch or Someone Else Will Eat It For You. It's in Cracking the Rich Code, Volume 15. James is a fascinating guy. He's got such a broad uh, type of experience. You know, he's a certified business leadership coach under Focal Point, and he's also, I mean, we've talked about his career in cosmetology. We've talked about him being a professional rapper and still doing that. Uh, you know, one of the other nicknames I saw for you on your LinkedIn page, by the way, it was a great way to contact James is via LinkedIn, by the way. Definitely check him out there. But you call yourself a fearless fixer, or did somebody give you that moniker as well?
You know, I would say that it came from I was working with a gentleman trying to show me different franchise ideas and things as I was kind of like soul searching when the software was sold. And so he was like, "Yeah, you know, you gotta have something on there like fearless fixer." Or I'm like, "Okay, that sounds good." But where it lines up with me personally is that's the role that I played in Super Salon was basically if there was a problem that was like, you know, needed fixing that nobody else could like tackle the problem, I was sent in to go tackle the problem. So if we had a large client that had multiple locations, they just started using the software. They didn't understand how to either they had reports that they needed where we had to custom write them, or they had things that needed to be kind of just analyzed and just try to figure out the gap and try to close the gap. I was sent in to do those
Right,
types of
right.
things. So that's kind of where I liked what he said, but I was like, oh, I'm going to take that and actually use it because I wanted to have something in the title on LinkedIn to where it was like, again, it's kind of like, well, what is that? You know, I like to kind of evoke curiosity because to me, if you don't have an opinion and you're not curious, I don't have anything for you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I need to know you have an opinion because if you have an opinion, you at least have a stance, right? That we can work with. But if you have no opinion, it's like you just you're more of a follower versus a leader. So
Yeah.
so when you're working with somebody that you're trying to draw out that you know that type of language or that type of drive, and it's not in their nature um, normally, right? So then I would just sit and we would do these weekly meetings and try to get
Right.
together. You bring them on where they needed to be, and that's where that fit with you know what I did.
Yeah. That's a perfect perspective for a coach is to invoke curiosity. I really like that idea because if you say like you go by the moniker AWB and nobody asks you what that stands for,
Right.
or nobody asks you what's 303 in your title, what are they? What are you not getting?
Right.
Why are you not asking? Like, what do you mean by eat your own lunch or someone else will eat it for you? You, if people aren't asking those questions, then you're not doing your job. You can't work with them.
Yeah.
Right. You want to invoke curiosity. You want to get people inspired to ask questions because when they ask questions, they learn. And when we learn, we grow.
Right.
And I'm loving this. James, I wish we had like another hour to chat and maybe we can talk again. But I want to thank you for coming on the show, for sharing your broad perspective and your expertise. And I'm looking forward to diving in on your chapter again and to chatting with you more and learning more about what you're doing and keeping track of you and your continuously growing business and where you're going. And so thank you again.
Yeah,
It's been great.
Thank you, John, for having me on. And thanks, Jim, and the Cracking the Rich Code series, just like I said, is awesome. And if you're ever in Denver, come get a haircut.
I will definitely talk to you because I'm always in need of a haircut, man. I think I was a werewolf in a previous life. So when I was in the Navy, I had to shave like 3, 4, 5 times a day just to pass muster. So
that's good. Yeah, I didn't go to service when my father was in the Army, and he did a lot of undercover work, so he never had a haircut. He was always wearing hair long.
Oh, wow. All right, my friend. We will talk again soon. Everyone, this has been a great conversation with James Rowe. Definitely check him out in his chapter in Cracking the Rich Code, Volume 15. Visit his website, focalpoint303.com, or connect with him on LinkedIn. Been a great conversation. Greatly appreciate everything. And have a great rest of your day. And those of you who are listening in or watching this, stay tuned for another episode, because we're always meeting such really interesting people in the Cracking the Rich Code world. Take care. Have a great day.
Thanks.